we are live and we are back. Let's go. I'm Cory, your host, one half of the Quarter and Full Up Ed podcast. And I'm back like I never left with another installment of Wealth Wednesdays here on the Quarter and Full Up Ed podcast. We discuss health and wealth, finance and fitness, and everything in between. And we want to make sure you save more and say less and keep making better your best. Yes, yes. However, when my co-host Jordan went on paternity leave, I started these Wealth Wednesdays where we get straight to the finance information, no filler in between. And today, I know y'all see the topic of this video. Still some more student loan information because I remember the article that I didn't read because it was I couldn't zoom in on it. Wasn't enough clarity. Talking about how due to the forbearance, people spent all this money over the last 3 years so due to the panorama. Now we got an article from the Daily Wire talking about how some people spent the forgiveness money that they thought they were going to get. So we got it on both sides, both ends. We got people spending their minimum payment money for their student loans to go get more debt, and then we got y'all spending. At least you got back the minimum payment money. That actually came back into your budget for a short period of time, 3 years. But but then we also got now people who spent the forgiveness money that they thought they were going to get. So I'm interested to see this article go through it with y'all again. Haven't looked at it yet, and see the numbers. And this article / episode, this is a short article. So this episode, unless this article is crazy, should be back around, under the 30-minute mark, but definitely around the 20-minute mark where I try to stay in that 20 to 30 minutes. And the last 2 episodes have been an hour. But hey, it is what it is. But before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, share and subscribe. Shout out to the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you leave those rating reviews on the podcast platforms as well. My information, as well as my co-host Jordan's information, can be found in the show notes on YouTube. I'm at sideline_Cory, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Then my co-host Jordan is Stop Stalling J, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Then his business page is FinallyFit06, Instagram, FinallyFit, Facebook. Then his website is FinallyFit.live for the virtual training sessions. Health is Wealth, 5:30 a.m. on Monday and Wednesday. Y'all need to come join the class. All right. No need to make all this money, and you got health issues. One of your biggest expenses is healthcare. All right, now again, the student loan ban, it'll probably never go away because student loans aren't going anywhere unless they decide to cancel, the program. But then private loans still exist. Regardless, student loans, they're back. We'll get into this article. Before we get started, remember, don't sue me, sue your mama. This is for entertainment purposes only. Myself, neither Jordan or finance or fitness professionals, and any information you hear on here is for entertainment purposes only, and you need to do your own research and consult a professional. All right? Now, y'all, let me see. Y'all know I struggle to share the screen, and when will I not struggle to share the screen? Don't worry about that. You need to mind your own business. All right, here we go. Again, this is from Daily Wire. Make sure you can see that. A third of student debt holders spent extra money they thought would be wiped clean. Poll, and this is by Ben Whitehead, July 12th of this year, so last week. All right. Let's see. All right, here we go. Shout out to President. Look at President Biden. What's he doing? Is he talking? He's getting off the plane? Is he at Andrews? He's just getting off the plane like he's making a speech. About to walk downstairs. All right, regardless, roughly a third of Americans with student loans spent money. My eyes, I don't know what I was seeing. Roughly a third of Americans with student loans spent money they would have normally spent because they were confident they would not have normally spent, because they were confident it would be forgiven under President Joe Biden, according to a new poll. What does confident mean on a scale of 1 to 10? How confident were they? We discussed why you shouldn't have been confident last episode. Anyways, the poll by intelligent.com surveyed 977 people. So, and this is where when people say, it's anecdotal, they only surveyed 977 people, which for a survey standpoint qualifies. But let's be very clear. 977 out of 40 million people that could have got the student loans. And sure, that's 0%. Let me see exactly what it is. But I mean, that's 0%. 177 divided by 40 million. It's 0.0000. So 4 zeros, 24425. Like, what was that? 100,000, 10,000? 10,000, that's how you pronounce it. Of a percent So, regardless, this is how many people they surveyed who would have qualified for at least 10,000. So this doesn't say exactly they qualified for the 20K or not, but for at least the 10,000 debt relief under President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. All right, again, Supreme Court struck that down last month. Of those, 1 in 3 said they spent extra money. What does extra money mean? Because they were assuming forgiveness, with many spending the money on things like vacation, retail items, and even alcohol, drugs, and gambling. Why didn't anybody invest this money? That's what's always confusing. Why is he? Why? This is why y'all shouldn't get the forgiveness. It's one thing if it say, Jesus, look at this article. Oh my goodness, this is about. That was rough. Was that important? Jesus. All right, let me go ahead and X that out. I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. Goodness gracious. All right, shout out to that ad. Yeah, so food, alcohol. Alcohol, even alcohol, drugs, and gambling. How they know they spend it on drugs? Why they ask when they spend it on drugs? Marijuana get more and more legalized in states. Oh my goodness. All right, Supreme Court right decision. Okay. It's a cold shower for those who had their hopes pinned on at least 10,000 relief. James Allen, who founded personal finance website bullpen.com, told intelligent.com, who did a survey of 977 people. It's like waiting for a tax refund only to find out the IRS made a mistake. I wouldn't call that, because you can go on the IRS website. There are many tax calculators out there, but the IRS offers one. And obviously it's not a guarantee, but you can sort of predict how much you are going to owe or get a refund of, or if it's going to be zero. There was no, you could. We discussed this last episode, but understand that the executive branch really don't have the power to spend money. Congress is the one who really spends the money. We talked about that again on the last episode. Y'all need to check that out if you haven't already. But so I wouldn't say it's like finding out the IRS made a mistake. The poll found out that other borrowers who spent extra with the hope of, debt being wiped clean, 31% spent between $2,500 to $5,000, 27% spent $1,000 to $2,500, 17% did $500 to $5,000 to $7,500, and then 9% spent between $7,500 to $10,000, and 5% more than $10,000. Just 11% spent $1,000 or less. Now, shout out to the 5% that spend $10,000 possibly on just drugs and alcohol, vacations, right? Alcohol, vacations, drugs, retail items, gambling. That's sort of like all the same thing. That's the lifestyle section, right? Necessities, debt payments, investments, lifestyle. The 4 major categories for your budget. Again, why? Nobody chose to pay down their debt or build up their savings, right? Or stabilize their bills and necessities, whatever, catch up on some bills they're behind. That's not quote unquote debt. They chose to spend money on your gamble. All right, that's not the article. These ads are crazy. As for what they're spending that money on, the poll found that most respondents who said they spent extra cash did so on retail items at 44%. Okay, so half is going to be on retail items, which makes sense because during the panorama when all the stimulus checks came out, I believe that's what people spent the most money on. So you can sort of view this as some type of quasi stimulus in the sense of not and stimulate the economy, but you getting money from the government from a 10K standpoint. And let's be clear, close to I think 50% of people, based off of I believe the Biden administration said, we're gonna have all of their debt forgiven from the 10K or 20K, whatever they qualified for. So the fact that only a third spent the money isn't off in the sense of close to half of the people weren't going to have any debt at all. Now that'd be, shout out to data. It'd be nice to know how many people spent this money, this quote unquote extra money, as they said, and we're still going to have student loans left over, even if the forgiveness did come through. That's what we really need to see how crazy these people are. Anyways, other expenses include, 37. Okay, second most common expense was, so 37% did pay off other debts. See, look, now they got me looking crazy because they made it seem like all people did was spend money on vacations, retail items, even drug and alcohol. But they said, 37% said they paying off other debts. It's not, that's good. And other expenses I mean, don't want to trade, one debt for the other, but at least you went and paid down some debt. You scared me. Where are you going? Oh, you're going. Okay, I don't want anything. All right, love you. My wife almost gave me a heart attack. She did give me a heart attack. She didn't almost give me one. Anyways, the second most common expense was paying off other debts, which 37% of respondents said they did. The other expenses include home and auto payments, which is, debt, childcare, and down payments on vehicles, homes. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, what is it? Did people hold on? Now I feel like I'm slow. Of those one, this says those 1 to 3 said they spent extra money because they were assuming the forgiveness would come through. With many, it says many spending that money on things like vacations, retail items, and even alcohol, drugs, and gambling. Okay, technically it is many, right? Out of what they spent on, right, 44% was retail items. That's almost half. About if it's over half, then it's you can consider it many, I guess, right? In between, drugs, alcohol, and everything else. And you got a 44% for retail items. All right, but 37. The other half essentially, or saying 37% did debt or childcare, things like that. Things if you are going to spend the money thinking that you're going to get it, debt, house payment, auto payment, childcare, things like that. Now, down payments, I wouldn't recommend for down payments. Don't go into more debt. That's what we talked about that article or that white paper as far as the forbearance and what people chose to get or chose to spend their money on. All right, here we go. They were almost about to end. About 20, I told you I was going to be fast. All right, anyways, about 20% of respondents said that they spent extra money on vacations. All right, so we got 20% on vacations, 44% on retail. So that's 64%, which is many. The poll found while 8% use it for drugs and alcohol and 7% use it for gambling. My goodness. So we got 44 plus 20, 64 plus 8, 7, that's 15. 64, what is that? Carry the one. It's 79. There's no carry the one here. Okay, 80% is many. How is it 80%? It can't be because it's not 80%. Yeah, 79 and it said 37. These numbers are slightly off. Regardless. All right. Shout out to people, 8% for alcohol or drugs and the 7% for gambling. 7% on gambling. That's crazy. Over half of borrowers now say they don't feel prepared once to. Today I was working on explaining how when to explain negative amortization to people, because that's what people complain about their student loans. They've been making all these payments and they owe more than what they graduated with, right? Even though they never missed a payment. It's like, how do you not understand negative am? Why don't you do your research? But anyways, right, all the excuses for people with all the excuses for college educated people not knowing things. That's what it comes to with student loans. They're talking about, financial literacy not being taught, which is not, but one of the things you learn how to do if you have a college degree. Now, half people go to college roughly don't graduate with a degree, but for the other half that do, I know for a fact to get your degree, not for a fact, but most people have to do some type of research paper or papers through college to graduate. So you did all this research, and this is before AI. We're getting to the point now. Eventually, we got all this AI, and people probably aren't doing any research. They're just straight up Googling. Google's just giving an answer, ChatGPT, whatever it is. But when I was in college, people before, the majority of people complaining about these student loans, there wasn't this crazy AI out there just for you to get all this information. You still had to worry about plagiarism and things like that, as far as your bibliographies, all that type of crap. You learn how to do research in college, right? Or you're supposed to learn how to do research. Think for yourself, right? Build critical thinking skills. But maybe that's only if you choose a STEM major. Anyways, over half, it gets really bad. And this is why, be thankful I'm not in charge. Let's say we do some type of student loan forgiveness, but no graduate. I've already said this before. Master's and doctorate degrees, no student loan forgiveness. One, just straight up off the age, you don't get the, you were a minor, right? Technically, predatory loans. And two, you have all this education. How do you have at least 2 degrees, right? Master's or doctor, you got 3 degrees. You have 3 degrees at least. And you want some claim on ignorance, lack of being able to find out information. This one, I don't know what type of debt, non-educated people have. But it's different if it wasn't debt attached to people who were quote unquote supposed to be the most educated people, or they are the most educated. We just count, if you're just counting degrees. But it's like you're college educated. Please just do the research. And that's what I was talking about. The negative AM. It's like it's not that hard to calculate the negative AM, right? Your interest accrues every month. Your minimum, not your minimum payment, but your minimum payment slash whatever you're making for your loan payment. If it doesn't satisfy the interest, because interest gets paid first in the loan, then your loan is going to continue to go up, right? The negative AM stands for amortization. Everybody, this is where it gets so confusing. Now I'm just going on a rant. Everybody talks about how they want to get a mortgage. When you get a mortgage, they usually, not usually, you get your amortization schedule. I should put my hand in front of the camera. How bad is that? Anyway, oh yeah, I got to screen share. Regardless, you get your amortization schedule, which is going to show you the payoff timeline, right, for your loan, right? If you make every payment when it's due, you don't have any late payments, you're going to pay off your loan in 30 years or 15 years based off whatever interest rate is, yada yada. Well, a negative AM loan is the opposite. So if an amortization schedule is going to show you when you're going to pay off your loan, the opposite of that is when you're not going to pay it off. I mean, it's that simple. And I think at some point in time, like now, people are still, as they're saying, they don't feel prepared to, once student loan repayments start back up, with 35% saying they're unprepared, 23% saying they're somewhat unprepared. Which, what the hell? Working on the cussing. What does somewhat unprepared mean? Over a quarter of respondents also claim they might refuse to pay. The 10,000. Oh no! I said I was trying. You niggas is crazy. I love the internet. This is some of the wildest stuff I have seen. Y'all are crazy. A 25% of respondents also claim they might refuse to pay the 10,000 that would have been forgiven under the president's plan. I swear to God, y'all will do everything but pay back the student loans. You'll do everything, and it's not like this 10,000 or 20,000, whatever you're going to get, was like, always here. It's not like, as soon as student loans came out, hey, we're going to forgive 10,000. This is just something that's popped up in the last year. We're coming up on a year since the plan had officially rolled out August of last year. It's not like this has always been the case, but it's like, nah, they said we're going to forgive it. Nah, I'm not paying this 10K. Y'all are wild. And this is why I don't care. This is insanity. There's a little bit more. This is the last article, almost. Oh my goodness! I want to be very clear. Do not do this. We got to get that on the soundboard. I got to get us a soundboard, but we got to put that on the soundboard. Let's be very clear. Do not do this. You don't have to pay it back. To be clear, but you should pay back your student loan debt, and do not be one of these 25% of people who are saying they might refuse to pay it. What does that mean? So he's going to let speaking of negative AM, he's going to get, let's say simple math, you owe $100,000, you can pay it down to 10,000. You're just going to not pay that 10,000 back ever, which means your student loan balance is obviously going to increase. Hey, yo, I love math. All right, y'all. Let's say you got $10,000 left right now. Those set of people, right, who just got to pay down to 10,000, and they were expecting to get it forgiven. So let's look at a compound interest calculator, and student loan rates vary over the years. Well, let's see. So the student loan interest rate is by a year. Well, can y'all see that? Let me zoom in a little bit more. Shout out to Sally Mae. Sally Mae is good for one thing. Let's see. They got historical student, not a sponsor one. All right, here we go. Let's see roughly what a student loan. God dang. This 2.75% of your student loan interest rates? That's crazy. I know mine was like, I think my mom's parent plus one was close to like 6 or 7. That when I refinanced mine, I think it was around 4 or 5. Let's just use 5% for a rough number. All right, so let's say you just got $10,000 sitting there, right? It's already at 20. Let's say you got 10,000 sit there, and you're gonna You never pay it back, you're gonna let it sit. Let's just do 4 years, right? A type of retirement type thing. Actually, let's make it 30 years, right? For back in millennials at 40 years old. So we're gonna take it at 70 years old. I bet not 70, 65. We're gonna do a 5%, and we're not gonna contribute. And let's just see what your balance will grow to. Yeah, $33,000. That's crazy. And let's just, I mean, it varies on the year, but let's say, some people out there, right? They got 6%, right? 42,000. You got, around 7%. Like I was saying, my mom's student loan was 6.99, 50,000. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know why. And it's the thing. These are college educated people. Assumption is they all have degrees. These are people who at least attended college because they got student loans. And they're just like, nah, F it, I'm not gonna pay it back. Insanity. 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 And then respectfully, it's one thing asking, for the forgiveness, but then it's another thing to be like, I'm not paying it back. The 10K is not getting paid back. What do y'all want us to do? All right. Late last month, the Supreme Court struck down decision 63. Secretary asserts that let's read it again. I don't know if it's the exact same. Yep. That the HEROES Act grants him the authority to cancel $430 billion of student loan principal. It does not. We hold that the act allows secretary to waive or modify existing statutory or regulatory provisions applicable, why did I say it like that, to financial assistance programs under the Education Act, not rewrite that statute from the ground up. All right, now is it 40 billion or so, or 60 billion? I forgot how much, like right after this didn't go through. Yeah, 39 billion was forgiven in student loans, but that was for people. It's still going to face a legal. All right, maybe this episode won't be 20 to 30, around 30 minutes. Whole time, not the 39 billion that they just did. Yeah, yeah, 39 billion. By the way, which is roughly the amount. I can't remember the exact act that they're using from 1965 that Lyndon B. Johnson put into place that they've used to forgive student loan debt. I think 2 or 3 times, but it's around this $30 billion amount that they forgive that they've done with that act. So around 40 billion, whether you like it or not. That's how much the government has been forgiving 800,000 borrowers. Right? Look at me. I'm on to another article. Y'all know when it comes to student loans, look. I'm gonna take it all in. Okay, I want to be clear. I thought this went through. I thought they were saying like it happened. Now they're saying there might be some political pushback or some legal, not political, some legal pushback. Let me say last week, questioning the forgiveness of legal actions, legal footing. Okay, Republican person from North Carolina, got it. Oh my goodness. Let's be clear. If y'all don't get that one, then it's like sorry for those people. But that one for that forgiveness, 39 billion, that was, I believe, for people who had been insane to say this number, paying their student loans for 20 to 25 years, which means they're late when I guess the early millennials were born. I mean, that's the 80s, early 80s, slash the mid 70s is when those people be born from a millennial standpoint. Wait, if you graduate college 20 years ago, that puts you at 2000. Let's say 2000. Yeah, okay, my bad. 80s. Yeah, late 70s, early 80s is roughly that time frame. You can go to college at any point in time, but that's roughly that time frame. So you've been paying on your student loans for 20, 25 years, and then you got that forgiveness. That's insane. And also, too, that's the one thing for people who've been paying back their student loans for 20, 25 years. And this is a conversation I know I've never had because it's popped in my head. But why don't we talk about people who have had student loans for 20 to 25, 30 years, whatever, and they haven't paid it back? Because isn't one of the complaints of millennials of how much cheaper college was? So we got people who got student loan debt from a dollar amount standpoint. They didn't take out that much debt, but they still have the debt. It's one thing when we talk about millennials in 20 to 25 years and how much debt that our generation got saddled with. But it wasn't supposed to be that much student loan debt for people who have been paying on it for 30, 20, 25, 30, 35 years. That's the whole one of the, not the whole issue, but one of the issues is how much college has gone up. So if it's gone up a lot, that means it didn't used to be a lot. I mean, that's just how that logic sort of works in theory. My goodness. All right. As we end the article, according to, I mean, who is Wakol? Why am I getting these ads? It's like, my wife on here looking at bras? Like, what is this? All right. According to, ah, god dang, not me closing out and it came right back. It's gonna report. Yeah, report this ad. Anyways, according to a White House fact sheet from August 26th, I guess that's last year, 26 million Americans had, applied or were eligible automatically for the debt relief, which applied to people who made less than 125, single, or 250K if you're married, up to 20,000 for the Pell Grant. All right, and yep, and Congressional Budget Office estimated the plan had a price tag of roughly 400 billion. Oh my goodness, let's be very, very clear. Do not be one of these people who said they're going to refuse. Let me find this out. Refuse to pay it back. Out to the people who paid down their debt, made some extra, debt payments, whatever it was. It might not have been the wisest thing to do. You might have should have, been paying down your student loan debt, depending on where it falls at in your debt payoff plan. But shout out to the people who at least, did something with the money that was going to move them forward. Shout out also to people who did something with the money that was going to move them backwards or move them backwards. And now we got all these people complaining again. Over half of borrowers now say they don't feel prepared once student loan repayments start back up in October. All right, and that's where when some people are saying the true recession and downturn, whatever you want to call it, for the economy hasn't truly happened yet. But wait until these student loan payments start back up. That's when it's going to get really messy, really, really messy. Now, will it? Nobody knows. Not a prediction, but as far as we have not fully gotten back to a quote unquote pre-panorama, life, as far as everything that was going on from a pre-panorama standpoint. This is really the last big hat to drop, is the student loan payment starting back up. So it's going to be interesting to see as we transition out of this year, since the payments start back up in October, and as we get into 2024, what things are going to look like. Shout out to the housing market, right? Interest rates. It'll be interesting to see how the economy does, what articles I will be doing. I cannot wait to see the student loan articles about how people are dealing / they're going to be struggling. I already know they're going to be. People are struggling now that student loan payments are starting back up. Here are things you can do to, I don't know, help with your student loan payments starting back up. They're going to offer, the income-based repayment stuff probably. You can go into deferment, forbearance, whatever it is. Cool. Again, shout out to the people, again, with the negative AM stuff. Not to mention, you got to make sure your payment satisfies the interest that accrues each month. But how about people that choose to put it in some type of deferment or forbearance, and then the interest is still accruing? So you get your paperwork as far as how much you got to pay back. And that's if you start right then and there. But now you got a situation where you don't pay your loan back, and now the interest is accruing this whole time, and you're not paying it down at all. And then now you start it back up, and you got this big beast you got to deal with. So please do not be the people in this article. I mean, if you're already scared, you're scared. You can reach out to me again. Financial coaching information is in the show notes. I do free consultation, so I'm not gonna charge you off rip. And we got Jordan and I have plenty of information on here about student loans and budgeting. But at some point in time, the lack of people choosing to do what is in the best interest of them, which is, sure, delayed gratification, and just putting themselves in a worse and worse position, we have to start asking people to pull up their mint. We need receipts. I get people are struggling. Got it. Cool. Boom. Now, I'm tired of talking about people. I need a person on person basis. So you got 1,000 people struggling. I would like to see each person's situation and see what they could have done in the past, right? How much of it is their fault, where you're in a situation where, okay, cool. Let's say you thought the student loan forgiveness was going to happen, but you're part of the people who decided to spend it on retail, or you decided to spend it on alcohol or drugs, right? Or vacations. Okay, those are the people where it's like, nah, you made your situation worse, versus the people who decided to put it toward expenses like home and auto payments, childcare. Okay, not good for the down payments on vehicles and homes. All right, we have to start truly putting people in different groups and understanding like, hey, these are the people who, yeah, they got screwed by student loans, but they're trying to do everything they can to get up out of it. And let's help them. Then we got the people who, again, were screwed by student loans, but they're not trying to help themselves slash and or making it worse, which is a majority of people. But all right, y'all, that's it. Locked and loaded. Dang, I almost said end recording. End of the episode. We're right at 30 minutes. Again, necessities, debt payments, investments, lifestyle. That's the recommendation that you budget your money as far as the 4 major categories and how you spend your income. Take care of your needs first, then you make your debt payments. Recommendation is if you have all this debt, particularly student loans, that you stop your lifestyle. It's on you if you want to stop investing or not. I'm not in the mood to discuss the theories on stopping investing, but do everything you can to pay off your debt as fast as possible. Again, touched on the last episode. We're coming up on 41 consecutive months of no student loan payments and no interest. That's what it will amount to. Most people could have paid off their student loans in 41 months. And the one thing that can't be said is, the panorama, regardless if you believe, in COVID or not, the planet did get shut down. That is a fact. That happened. But what also happened is there were a whole bunch of jobs out here, right? It was a little murky, as soon as it started out. But after that, restaurants anywhere, they could not hire people. So there were jobs out here. To get. So even if you had a situation where you lost your job due to some downsize and whatever it is, it's not like you couldn't have gotten another job. And some of y'all need to humble yourself and go take two $15 jobs so you can get back your $30 an hour, job, or however you want to chop up the math from that standpoint. But for those of you just, chose to, ride the stimulus checks out, ride the unemployment out, and chose not to fix it and really get out here and take control of your life. Shout out to this fox that was found on rain. That's on you. Ooh, that fox looks skinny. This is like the fox on the what commercial is that? Anyways, all right, y'all. That's it. Again, make sure that like button, share and subscribe. Shout out to the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you leave those rating reviews on the podcast platforms as well. Again, my information, as well as my co-host Jordan information, is in the show notes on YouTube. You can follow Jordan at StopStallingJ, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. His business page is FinallyFit.live by business page, his business webpage. And then FinallyFit06 Instagram, FinallyFit on Facebook. Again, FinallyFit.live for the 5:30 a.m. Monday and Wednesday virtual training sessions. Again, health is wealth. All right, so again, shout out to the Money Talk. Y'all need to get your fitness in order. And I need to sync up my schedule with Jordan. We need to get schedules up because we have not done a joint episode in a minute. All right. Again, my information, silent_Cory, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for financial coaching information. It's in the show notes as well. You need help paying off your debt, all this different type of stuff. I keep my clients, I don't mention their names, but I still do my best to keep their information as, private as possible. But I mean, all my clients are good. Some of them, we're waiting to see if the forgiveness, if they're going to come through. Then it is what it is. Got the money sitting aside, waiting to pay it off. I got some other ones. Told them, look, regardless if it comes through or not, once things started filling out about what's going to happen with the forgiveness, like you still gonna have money left regardless. So this is what you need to do. Yada yada yada. I gotta put you in a position to where you take control of your life instead of just sitting here and letting life happen to you. All right, y'all. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, reach out to us. Leave the comments. Let me know what you think of the video. If you have any articles that you want myself and or Jordan to discuss, please let us know. All right. So remember to save more and say less. Keep making better your best. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.